this last example in section 4.1 is another example of a conversion. You know, we talked about the angular versus linear speed, and again, that really doesn't matter, to me at least. You don't need to know those definitions, but you should know how to convert one unit into another. And so we're going to do that here and see what we can come up with. It says to find the speed of a Dodge Charger in miles per hour when the wheels are turning at 800 revolutions per minute. Now, just for you car people out there, just know that this is not talking about engine speed. This is revolutions per minute for the wheels. So you might be thinking that that's super slow, but we're not talking about a tachometer. We're talking about the actual wheel itself. So that's where it's a little bit different here. But we're going to start, as mentioned before, with just keeping in mind what is the goal? Miles per hour. So I'm going to put that off to the side. Miles divided by hours, and I want that to be my overall goal. I'm going to try to get to this unit. If I can get to that unit, the numbers will work themselves out kind of on their own. I start with this 800 revolutions per minute. So I have to represent that with a fraction at the very beginning. So I'm going to go way over here to the side, 800 revolutions per 1 minute. Okay, 800 revolutions per minute. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so if we got 800 revolutions per minute, then we have to, along the way, try to convert it to miles per hour. Like the last example, I'm going to start with the easier unit to work with, and that is minutes. So I'm going to introduce the fraction to get rid of minutes. Maybe I'll turn minutes into hours here. So that will mean 60 minutes divided by 1 hour. And again, I just want to make sure that my minutes, one of them is on top and one of them is on the bottom so that they can cancel out. That's how you know where to place them and where to place the hours and all that. Now we're looking for miles per hour, so that means at this point we are set to go with hours. And so I'm going to circle it kind of like I did in the last example as well. That's all set. Now I just got to take care of the revolutions, which is going to be the trickier part of this whole deal. Now revolutions, what that means, if you can picture this, a revolution of a wheel, that means it goes all the way around once. Now, as far as the rubber hitting the road on a tire, that really what it means is the circumference of that tire. So we know that circumference is, the formula for it is 2 pi r. Now, we have a table right down here, as you can see, for this Dodge Charger. The Dodge Charger has a tire diameter of 28.6 inches, so that means the radius is going to be 14.3 inches. All right, so we start there. We can plug that in here. I guess what we could have just used is the diameter times pi formula. Either way, you get the same thing. What ends up happening is you get 2 pi times 14.3, which is going to be 28.6 pi. And this is the circumference. This is going to be in inches. So we're going to have that label as inches. So one circumference equals this. And a circumference is the same thing as a revolution. So we're going to say that this equals 1 revolution of that tire. And I think if you do this as a side problem, it makes the overall conversion much easier, and you'll see why in a minute. I would recommend leaving pi as pi, and then we'll just crunch the numbers at the very end, because right now we're dealing with something that is, we don't have to round it at this point. So we put that in here. We're going to cancel out revolutions. So we're going to put 1 revolution on the bottom, and we found out that revolution is 28.6 pi inches. So I'm going to put that right up here. Make sure you put inches in there. So 28.6 pi inches. So that means now, one of the ideas here is that I wanted to cancel out revolutions, and so I can go like that and that. Revolutions are gone. Now I'm dealing with inches. Now I eventually need to change inches into miles. So I'm going to go through some of the same numbers last time with the inches and feet and miles and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to do the feet inches fraction at this point. I'm going to put inches in the bottom. So I know that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. Okay, so that means that inches can be crossed off. Then I want to go from feet to miles, and so that's going to be my last fraction, kind of like we did in the last one. Feet to miles, 5,280 feet on the bottom in 1 mile. Okay, so again, feet can be taken care of. Feet are gone, leaving us with miles on the top, and that's really what we're looking for. That's the end goal from this one. So now we have miles divided by hours. And so once we get all of this set up, as you can see, it's one big long string, and I recommend you do it that way, is that now we can just take those numbers, let the calculator do the work for us, multiply. I would suggest multiply straight across the top, hit enter, and then divide that by whatever the bottom is, multiplied straight across. So just make careful attention to order of operations, because if you don't, it could have a remarkably different answer. And that ends up being about 68.07 miles per hour. Now, I didn't mean that to come out so close to the last example. That was kind of a coincidence that it was so close in the number for the last example. But the real thing that you need to get down is how we cancel out the units like this. And if you've had chemistry, maybe this is a little bit easier for you, because this is a very similar process to what you would do in chemistry. But I can guarantee that there will be one on the test just like this. So please be careful that you know how to go through this process.